Welcome to our 100 Huntley Street special, Standing with Ukraine. Today we're going to take you right to the front lines of the war that's been going on for more than 3 years. And you're going to meet the people that Crossroads Cares has been helping. And we're so excited to do this because for the first time, we've been able to get cameras on the ground. And we're going to show you both the need and the impact you've had.
It's so important. You know, we're going beyond the headlines to introduce you to the heroes who are making a difference and to the beautiful people who are pushing on despite the loss, the destruction. You know, the spirit of the people of Ukraine stands strong, and we stand with them. And we know you stand with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks to your faithfulness, we've actually been able to impact more than 157,000 people since the war started, which is amazing. You've helped deliver water, food, medical aid, transportation, and provide lodging for people.
It's incredible. You know, we've also been able to give them emergency supplies such as hygiene packages, clothing, footwear, mattresses, blankets, Bibles, and of course, toys for children, which as a mom, it means so much to me because they can still retain a bit of their childhood, even in the midst of war.
Absolutely. It's been so special. But what we're hearing from our partners on the ground is that the need actually continues to be dire. And in some ways, the suffering has increased because the attention of the world has moved on to other things and prices for everything has skyrocketed. But we haven't moved on. We're going to keep helping.
Yeah, we are. And we are standing with Ukraine. So today we have a big goal. But you know what? We serve a big God who wants to help us be the hands and feet of Jesus in Ukraine. So we want to raise $100,000 today to let all the people in Ukraine, the young people, the families, those who are orphans and elderly know that they are not forgotten. God sees them and we see them.
And you're going to meet them in just a moment. If you want to help get us started on that goal, you can actually give us a call right now before the phones get too busy. That number is 1-800-265-3100. You can also give online at crossroads.ca/Ukraine. Anything you can do will get there and it will make a difference on the ground, as you're going to see.
Well, there are so many stories unfolding in Ukraine, and through our Crossroads Cares team of brave and dedicated partners on the ground, it's not uncommon to hear stories of great loss. Our team is traveling near the front lines, and there are people who have experienced the loss of a loved one or the loss of a home or a business or an entire community. I know that's unimaginable, but with your help and your compassionate giving, there is hope. We want you to take a look at this.
Орудие! Выстрел!
My name is Zadneprovska Olga. I am 27 years old. This is my daughter Nika. And this is Daria. For us, this aid is more like support, knowing that you're not alone, that you are still needed by someone. You come here, there is so much devastation. You don't even have the mood to do anything. We were probably among the first to return after the occupation, and we just cried. You arrive here and you are overwhelmed with emotions. You cry. It is just impossible. And now we have gotten a bit used to it, but the mood is still very low. If it weren't for the help, it would be very hard. You need to keep moving. I am constantly on the move, so I need support.
I think that if no one helped them, I think it would lead to genuine feeling of not only were they, severely hurt by what happened, but they were abandoned as well. And it's just like the children that we help. We very often, the thing that we're trying to tell them is that you are not alone. You're not left behind completely. And that's what we're basically trying to tell these people, that there are people around the world, in this case, Canadians, who care. For them, it's not just enough to ignore it because it's far away, but they're genuinely giving and helping. And I think that changes a lot.
Дякую, Канада. Дякую, Канада. Thank you, Canada.
Thank you, Canada. Oh. Thank you, Canada. Да.
Well, those thank yous are to you. You know, as a mom watching, Cheryl, it breaks my heart to see kids standing in their communities that have been decimated by bombs and warfare. And I think about, the mom we saw talking, she shared that she's always on the move, she's always on the go. I know a mom here in North America, we're worried about our kids' school, we're worried about who they're hanging out with, social media, all these things. We're not worried that they will survive a bombing that could happen. Yeah. We're not worried that their basic needs of a home and safety will be met. And I'm just so thankful that we are doing what we're doing through Crossroads Cares. We're so thankful for you. There are young kids, we see them still being kids. They're still playing, even in the midst of such destruction. And that's the hope we've been able to share with them.
Yeah, I think when we see our partners risking their lives, like they're in areas where they have to check every day, every hour, what's happening, where are missiles coming, is this safe, is this area safe? They're risking their lives. We want to just support them. That's why I feel like it's the least that we could do and that Crossroads Cares can do. And I know you feel that way. You've been so generous. But that need still is there. And so we want to raise $100,000 today to tell them that they are not alone. That number is 1-800-265-3100. You can also give online at crossroads.ca/Ukraine. Anything you give is going to make a difference. And thank you for standing with us.
Yes, thank you so much. We want to do more of the things we've already done through Crossroads Cares in Ukraine. And so you're making that possible. And as Cheryl, you noted earlier, this is more important now than ever because a lot of things have shifted and we need to focus on Ukraine. One of the most important things that Crossroads Cares does when they go into a community is they identify who the most vulnerable is in that region, whether it's the elderly or young families. And many of them are struggling the hardest to survive. Here is a look at some of the families and individuals we've been helping.
Years of war have painfully altered this landscape. Lives of countless Ukrainians who once called this land home, either lost or forever changed. For many, the realization that the world they once lived in has been completely destroyed is overwhelming. But the resilience of those displaced by the war is strong, even in the face of such hardships. This is precisely why it is so important to continue to deliver aid.
I'm not the only one. Many of us have lost our homes completely. I am not alone. I am 76 years old. I am from Avdiivka. A huge thank you to our friends and comrades who are helping us. This support is important for us because it's very hard for pensioners to survive. And for workers too, it's hard to survive. My daughter also works. She has 2 children. She's a single mother raising children on her own.
Without help, it would be very difficult. We wouldn't survive on our own.
It was very, very difficult for us. Here, people took us in. Kind, good people. We also thank our Canadian friends who help us bring everything. Without their help, we couldn't have survived. There are very nice people here who help everyone in difficult times. Thank you to all the friends who help us, both local and Canadian.
Our work continues to grow, thanks to the friends we have. I want to say that they, perhaps, even give us wings. So many people today are open to kindness, to Jesus, to his teachings, and it is precisely because our friends do not stop, because they come to us, because they provide help. This greatly inspires us and gives us strength.
Ed Dixon is one of our Crossroads Cares partners on the ground in Ukraine. As he drives from region to region, village to village, the devastation plays like a loop outside the vehicle windows.
Dave,
If you can add a bread for everyone, I'll give them the groceries.
Ed, along with a small team, are delivering much-needed aid, in addition to helping relocate displaced people to safety and shelter.
It's very hard to explain to people. Like if I say we evacuated 5,000 people from the war zone, people hear the number, but you don't realize like how many people that is, and how many individuals, and 250,000 families, that we've delivered groceries. If I were to just spend 1 minute telling you about each family, just for 1 minute, and explain what it meant to them, what it meant to that family to receive those groceries, I would be here for 10 days, 24 hours a day, just telling you those stories. People here, they tell me all the time, we will never forget the people who helped us when we needed it the most. And they're extremely thankful to Canadians, to the church that has helped them. It's changed their lives.
Ukraine has been attacked, but they are not defeated. It is only through your continued compassionate giving that partnerships are strengthened and continue to provide aid despite the challenges. Together we have done so much, but our work is not done. Please go to our website at crossroads.ca/Ukraine or call 1-800-265-3100. Your contribution is truly rebuilding lives.
Oh, it is such a gift to be able to see the impact Crossroads Cares is having and that you're having in Ukraine. Cheryl, I think about as I watch all of that footage, the reality is that it's hard enough when you're an older person as you grow older, being elderly. I saw some of them in the clip we just saw, but to do so in a war-torn country. I mean, you're talking about people who are probably already having a hard time walking with mobility, getting groceries, and now this next level of just their daily life being onslaughted with difficulty. And yet there's Crossroads Cares bringing them in, bringing in hope and bringing food and all of the necessities that they need.
Yeah, I think a lot of these people don't want to leave their homes. They're like, what am I going to do at 85 years old to leave my home? So they stay there. And, this aid that we are giving is fueling revival, actually, in Ukraine. I think you need to know that because you can say that God loves you, but when bombs are dropping on your head and you've lost everything, you're not going to believe it. Yeah. But when people show up and risk their lives to show up and bring you food, give you aid, then you know that God is real, that these people are risking their lives for something bigger than them. So thank you, and please help us continue. The need is growing greater. I think a lot of people have moved on. These, I was telling you before the show, Lara, these people are like my friends. Yep. Like these people, I see the trauma that they've gone through. Prices have gone up now drastically. The conversion to the US dollar is making it harder to purchase goods. Yep. So we need all the help we can get. We are trying to raise $100,000 today. I think we can get there. That number is 1-800-265-3100. You can go online at crossroads.ca/Ukraine.
That's right. Well, we're so thankful for your giving. And, we always say if 1,000 people give $100, we can meet our goal. Now, you might be noticing different organizations represented in some of the images, but we're asking you to give to Crossroads Cares so we can continue to support the work happening on the ground. Crossroads Cares has been doing so much in Ukraine and also supporting orphans through seminary student ministry teams that visit state-run orphanages each week. These visits build lasting friendships, change the lives and the trajectories of young people, and even in the midst of war, this team has remained faithful, ministering to these young orphans. Take a look at this.
It's Saturday morning, and 20-year-old Lviv seminary student Lilia is sharing a Bible lesson with a group of students at this boarding school. Many of these children are orphans. Others come from difficult circumstances, broken homes where alcohol and drug abuse has taken hold, leading to cases of severe neglect. It is not uncommon for some household situations to be so dire that parents simply can no longer look after their own children. Then there is the war.
When the war started, we came because we were very afraid that we would get hit by a missile.
Lilia can relate to these children. She too was once an orphan. Growing up, her father suffered from a severe mental illness, while her mother did little to take care of her and her siblings. By the age of 10, Lilia was placed in a children's shelter.
The way my mom took care of us, and we lived badly, horribly actually. We didn't have a place to wash. We didn't even really know how to brush our teeth. We sometimes ate from dirty plates because there was nowhere to wash them. We didn't have a sink to clean the dishes.
Lilia was eventually moved into a Christian orphanage where she met Jesus and accepted him into her heart. After finishing school, she entered the Lviv seminary where she grew spiritually and met the love of her life, eventually getting married. Today, Lilia and her husband are part of the team of seminary students who serve each Saturday, traveling to various orphanages and boarding schools. Crossroads Cares has been supporting state-run orphanages through a seminary student outreach for more than 18 years. These students go out on the weekends ministering to children both practically and spiritually by playing games, doing crafts, and sharing God's love by spending time with them. It's something each child craves, to be seen and to be loved. When the war started, Crossroads Cares expanded our work to provide important practical needs, such as ventilation and tiles for bomb shelters within orphanages, and repairing damaged windows, doors, and gas heaters. Olenka Tardanova is head of the charity department with the Lviv Theological Seminary. She leads this dedicated group and says in the midst of war, there is perhaps no greater moment to share God's love.
What inspires me to work in this service is probably the changed destinies. You look at perhaps wounded hearts of children and you understand how God can heal and change them. And when you see after a while that their lives have changed, you understand that they're from bad families. They could have just continued the fate of their parents, and then you see them successful, you see their fate successful, and you are happy, and it inspires you even more to serve such children.
But years of war have driven the cost of even the simplest repair significantly up. That is why it is so important that you come alongside us during this critical time, so that we can show up for these orphans in practical and profound ways.
Repairs during the war is very difficult. 3-4 years of the war, and for us, it is really very difficult.
Prices is jumping couple times. We try to survive, but we are in very hard position in a wartime. We pray for the Lord for help. We have hope, but we ask you also to pray for us.
Well, to be honest, I never wanted to leave Ukraine. I love Ukraine in general. I love everything Ukrainian. I pray a lot for peace, but I thank those who stayed. I thank the troops who protect us. Yes, it is not easy to live during the war. The prices have increased for everything. But when you trust in God, God provides you with everything you need.
Will you stand with us to bring hope and healing to vulnerable children and orphans? Together, we can change the story for these young lives, children who have already endured so much. With your support, we can offer them a future filled with hope, healing, and possibility. Please go to our website at crossroads.ca/Ukraine right now or call 1-800-265-3100.
Дякую, Канада.
Thank you, Crossroads.
Oh, Cheryl, seeing all those faces of those young orphans and just seeing that they're still full of joy. They are still resilient. And I would say that's because of that community, the seminary teams around them, loving them and just showering them with the love of God. Lilia Storia has a very big impact on me because as a mother of 2 children, I see her journey and I can't even imagine what she's had to go through. And here she is serving God and in seminary. It's incredible.
One of my favorite memories is kids running into the arms of the seminary students when I was there to see it. It really is a lasting impact. We've been doing this since 2007, almost 20 years. And honestly, one of the biggest impacts beyond just those orphans receiving sometimes love and the for the first time in their lives has been those students themselves, who some of them were former orphans, and they come to faith, they know they're loved, they go to seminary, and then they're going back, like Lilia, and then there's tons of them going back into the orphanages and caring for that next generation of orphans.
What a transformative story, and we're part of that story. Every time we give, every time we sow in, we are part of what God is doing in Ukraine to transform lives and to really bring dead things back to life and change the future for people.
Yeah, that's why we set a big goal today for $100,000, because we want to make sure that we can continue doing this work. Repairs to the buildings, new mattresses, diapers for developmentally delayed kids. We want to raise $100,000 over the course of this show. That number is 1-800-265-3100. You can also give at crossroads.ca/Ukraine. We are running out of time, so please make sure to give. And that seminary hasn't just served those orphans every weekend, but they've taken in refugees. And they have gone out and given clothing and food out to people. We want to show you what that looks like. Take a look at this.
Songs of praise and worship fill the halls of the Lviv Theological Seminary. It's a welcome reminder that even against the dark backdrop of war, God continues to work in the lives of the Ukrainian people. Brother and sister Christina and Serhiy Maniakin's town fell under Russian control. Those soldiers then took their house away to be used by Russian troops. The siblings who were doing ministry in their town were told by Ukrainian authorities to leave it all behind and flee to safety. Together they traveled for more than 4 days under shelling to Lviv, where they both enrolled in the seminary.
I think the war strengthened my faith because there were many times when I was under fire. It was very close. And I understand that God was there to help me, to save me.
We lived under shelling for a very long time because we left very recently in August, in the middle of August. At that time, we were already living there 6 kilometers from the front. It was constant shelling. There was no electricity, no communication, no water. There was such constant fear and uncertainty.
Here at the seminary, Christina and Serhiy have found refuge, receiving the spiritual support and healing they need while growing in the knowledge of their faith. Today, the students are doing community outreach, something that takes place here often in the midst of their own suffering and pain. The students find strength in helping others. Crossroads Cares helps to fund food, clothing, and aid distribution to refugees who find themselves displaced due to the ongoing war. This has become a vital lifeline to so many families struggling to make ends meet and cannot be done without your continued support.
Our house has been hit 3 times already because it's located near a military unit. Just yesterday, it got hit again. The windows are shattered. This is very important help because the aid from the state is not enough. It's not even enough to pay for rent, let alone feed the family.
My name is Arkip. I'm 11 years old. I moved from Kharkiv. We first stayed in a bomb shelter, then we left due to shelling. Before we left, our place got shelled, and we drove 1 more kilometer so that they wouldn't notice us. It was very difficult. We were traveling to nowhere. We didn't know where we were going because they were shooting and bombing us along the way. We traveled, then we ended up in a shelter. It was in the center of Lviv. Later, when it closed, we went to another shelter and ended up in this modular building. My dad is at war. I'm here with my sister, and I'm living here for now.
Well, yes, it would be hard for us without help, because over there is almost no help for us. My dad is military. He's a pilot. He flies a helicopter.
The most important thing we want to say when I help, when I serve, when I help refugees, we want to say that they are not alone, that they will not be abandoned, that there are dozens of people who are ready to help them, who are ready with what they can do, to help, to bring something, to do something. And in fact, there are dozens of such people. And when I do it or organize it, it is such a joy for me that there are dozens of people who want to help. I'm sure that they will do it until the end of the war and after the war ends, as long as there are people who need help.
Lviv Theological Seminary President Volodya Salajak says refugees are often left dealing with crippling emotional and financial problems.
We hear bad information about people who are killed, who are destroyed, who lost their houses, who lost lives, who lost health, and we ask you to pray for peace. Still, we have hope. We are very happy that we have friends who do not forget about us, and one of our big friends is the Crossroads organization. During all the time, they help us, they support, they try to do what they can to do. All the time they send us help for refugees, for our running programs, for our programs and ministry in orphanages.
It is in times of great turmoil that the people of God rise and become the hands and feet of Jesus. And that is happening in Ukraine. It is only through your giving that we can support students like Christina and Sir here, that we can show the love and compassion of God by handing out aid to those whose lives have been torn apart by war. We are committed to standing alongside Ukraine and letting them know they are not forgotten. Your prayer and support can make a life-changing impact. We can't do this work without you, so please go to our website at crossroads.ca/Ukraine or call 1-800-265-3100.
Thank you, Canada.
Thank you, Canada.
Дякую, Канада.
Дякую, Канада.
Дякую, Канада. Thank you, Canada. Thank you, Canada. Thank you, Crossroads.
You know, Cheryl, when you see the ripple effect of one life being changed and then the next, and you think about the generations being impacted in Ukraine because of your faithful giving, because of what you were doing as you sow into Stand With Ukraine and what you've done for the last 3 years, we see the result. And, you know, the reality is resources are getting sparse. Hope is getting sparse. We have to remind so many of those that you have just seen in Ukraine that they are not alone, that we serve a big God. He does see it all, but it's actually through our work and our hands that we can show them the love of Jesus.
Yeah, and you know, the support is a message, right? Like what I see is that people are really weary. A lot of my partners talk to me personally about trauma. I pray with them, I send them scriptures. Yeah. And you know, like what Volodya said there is, you know, like we're showing up for them and we're reminding them that they're not alone in this, that they're not forgotten. But it's really that they're not forgotten by God. Yeah, they're not forgotten by us, but we're just part of that message. Yeah. And that's why we called this special Standing With Ukraine, because we want to stand with them and we want to remind them that even though they're weary and it's hard, that they're not alone. You know, our goal today is $100,000. We're running out of time to make that goal. Thank you for everyone who's called. If you haven't called yet, please call. The number is 1-800-265-3100, or you can give online at crossroads.ca/Ukraine.
Well, you know, you are changing lives and you're changing the future of so many people as you sow in. And so right now, if you feel that tug in your heart, if you say, I know I can do this, I know I can do what you're asking me to do, God, please do give. We want to share a fresh dose of hope with Ukraine, with the partners who need it, with the people who need basic necessities for their everyday. Please call 1-800-265-3100 or go to crossroads.ca/Ukraine. There are only moments left, so please pick up that phone, check our website out. We're so thankful for you, and you heard them today. Thank you, Canada. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, and you know, prayer is the other thing too. Don't forget Ukraine. Some of you may not have anything to give right now. We get it. You know, if you do, we'd appreciate it. If you don't, pray.
Yes.
Or pray even if you do, because prayer does make a difference, and it is part of letting them know they're not forgotten. And I can't express enough what it means to them that we're standing here today, that we're telling these stories, and that we're helping. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you for your ongoing support of Crossroads, a supporter-funded nonprofit organization and member of the Canadian Centre for Christian Charities. Thanks to faithful people like you, we are able to continue producing 100 Huntley Street. You can write to Crossroads, P.O. Box 5100, Burlington, Ontario, L7R4M2, or visit crossroads.ca to learn more about our programs.